I want to set a scene for you. This is John McClane meeting Hans Gruber for the first time. And Hans, or aka Andres, you're going to have to try to disguise your accent. Mm-hmm. All right. You remember the scene, right?
Hey, who are you?
Hey, Carlos.
Hey, what's going on?
I am not Hans. I'm not Fancy B. I am the new improved Andrew. Call me Andrew.
Oh, hey, Andrew. How are you?
Very well.
But you're at work already.
I am.
Yeah, you just want to be a new person at work.
I want you to tell me that
what do you like?
I have no accent.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew, what do you like? Where's Fancy?
Where is he? I don't know.
This
is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You failed.
Welcome to another episode of SOS VHS. Today, in the spirit of the holidays, we're talking about my favorite Christmas movie. Or is it a Christmas movie? Die Hard. What do you think, Carlos? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I burped.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I really believe it is.
Yeah, I think there's a big, it's in dispute.
It's like an internet thing.
Yeah, it's an internet thing. I was looking it up and it's like, some people think it's in the list of like best Christmas movies of all time. And other people say like, that makes no sense. This is not a Christmas movie.
And people get mad if you even ask the question.
Right.
They're like, it's like not even, I feel like we're doing it like double ironically or something.
Right. Nah, I always like Christmas to set up any sort of like action thriller movie. I think it adds
Black.
Yeah. I think it adds a little level of like, I don't know, it's fun, and the music is, I love using Christmas music as like horror or action,
Totally.
It's just a fun time, and everybody has this nostalgia about family or whatever they're growing up. Christmas is something that is very universal.
It heightens everything too. People are stressed out. They're spending
right.
Like people are traveling more, like crime
there's
around
the parties, there's the holidays, there's all of that stuff. So it's a great time to set a movie, I think.
You know what movie I really love that's a Christmas movie that like Shane Black wrote, the guy who wrote Lethal Weapon?
Yeah.
Was, now I'm forgetting, the one with Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer, where Val Kilmer plays a gay guy skeleton. Do you know this movie?
I don't.
Robert Downey.
I'm Ellis, by the way, and you killed my brother.
Yes.
Oh yes. Hey, what's up?
John McClane.
Okay, well
this is personal.
But it is true, like Lethal Weapon, another action movie of the time that happens over Christmas and it's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kiss
Bang Bang was the name of the movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So fucking good.
Yeah, George and I wrote a movie. It's called Jingle Jingle Bang Bang.
Oh, that's so funny.
It is a Christmas action movie with a little bit of Shane Black in it. So do you remember when you watched this for the first time?
Yeah, probably like on cable in the mid-90s, honestly, where you couldn't say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Right.
Sorry, YouTube.
Right. So, no, I went to the movie theater. I might have been like 9.
In Spain.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was so blown away by it. I loved it. It's been in my list of movies that if it comes on TV, I will just keep watching.
I've seen it too many times.
Right.
That I can't even like rewatch as much. Like on this island, if you notice every night when we go to bed in our hammock, I don't choose Die Hard to watch at night.
Yeah, I didn't rewatch it for this time because it's also very much engraved in my brain.
I like number 3 the most.
Number 3,
so
which is
good.
Also a John McTiernan, who I was a huge fan of this director. His name is John McTiernan.
Okay.
He had only done 2 movies before this, but the year before he did Predator with Arnold.
Oh, okay, wow.
And I think until Die Hard, so Sylvester Stallone and Arnold did redefine or kind of like staple what action movies were. Mm-hmm. In the 80s, and it's like these big guys, all muscles, no shirts.
Yeah.
Kind of like a superhuman type of guy who they don't get hurt. They are super powerful.
Yeah.
And it's a type of like, I don't associate action movies with that, with the 80s. Those are not my favorite, although I watch them and I like them.
I like 90s ones the most.
I think when this movie came, it changed that paradigm, and now we have a pretty much a normal guy in an trapped in unreal circumstances, and he has to and also Die Hard did create a genre.
Oh yeah,
not only an action movie, but like the Die Hard on a bus. Speed, right? Die Hard on an airplane, Die Hard on a mountain, the people start using Die Hard as a genre in itself.
It's so good. I love how I love the normalization of like the guy, like no one looks like Arnold or Sly, you know what I mean?
Right,
I love how it, like, even when he arrives at LAX, he's just like a guy, a baggage claim with like a jacket and a teddy bear, like a whole thing.
It's obviously, and for Bruce Willis, I mean, this movie is full of like firsts, because it's like Bruce Willis was on a TV show called Moonlighting. He was kind of a romantic interest, like this cute guy in a comedy world, not really an action hero.
Yeah.
The first time that they play this trailer for an audience, people laugh so hard at Bruce Willis.
Oh wow!
That the marketing campaign changed completely, took him out of the posters. They put just the building on the posters for a while, a month before release, because Bruce Willis was a nobody.
Yeah. Like, who's this guy? He's going to take on all these terrorists kind of
thing. It's like, the guy, the romantic
guy.
is like the telenovela guy is now an action movie
wild.
star.
It's like if Ross was in it or something.
Right. So, and actually, they couldn't cast McClane. They did... went out to Sylvester Stallone and Arnold and all the usual suspects of the 80s.
Yeah.
Sorry to be going on a tangent, but I hated Ross too.
Yeah, Ross is annoying.
He was so annoying.
But I feel like if you say you don't like Ross, that's like it's not anti-Semitism. I just don't like Ross.
Just the character. The character is just.
I actually like him.
Really? I didn't like anyone on Friends, to be honest with you.
I love Friends.
So I was obviously a Seinfeld guy. So like when Matthew Perry died, I like Instagram like Kramer forever. I'm joking. I didn't do that.
I think.
Come on, Matthew Perry and I are good friends in the afterlife.
Friends was one of those things that really worked well internationally. So
I see.
For me, Seinfeld didn't translate. I wasn't able to watch Seinfeld until it just. I thought it was more less universal. More you have to understand the U.S. culture a little better. The New York thing. It didn't land on me as I mean, I think Friends was so universal, and actually that's why it was so easily translatable everywhere.
Could Bruce Willis have played Ross? I think so.
I don't think so. But I'll say this about Bruce Willis: he's also in Friends.
Right. Yeah. Everybody was in Friends at one point, right? Like, but Bruce Willis.
Paul Rudd.
I think this movie redefined him completely, and our image of Bruce Willis, if you are a little bit on the younger side, it's shaped by, you always think of Bruce Willis first as an action
actor.
You don't think of him as like, everything he has done prior to that, where he had a completely different career.
Yeah, it's so crazy to think about his career before that, because I'm at the age, I'm 36 now, where to me, Bruce Willis was only an action star. Yeah. So I was one when this movie came out.
Right. So yes, this movie came out and 89?
88.
88.
Because Predator was 87.
Yeah.
That was my first movie.
Okay.
I was like a newborn in the theater, apparently.
That's funny.
Yeah. And I don't remember like the first movie I was taken to see, like a kid movie or whatever, but like I know Predator was my first.
That's cool.
I would have been like 3 months or something. Right. It was like a summer movie and I was born in April.
So the Skeleton gave me a little secret about LA movie theater watching, and apparently there is this thing at the Grove where you can take your newborn and our kids, and the kids can cry and people don't complain because everybody goes.
Oh, did you go?
I haven't gone yet because I couldn't find exactly.
I'm stuck on this fucking island.
Yeah, I'm stuck here, but I wanted to do it because like, how else am I gonna watch movies?
Wait, is there a Grove on this island?
There's a mall here? You have to take a special, rescue ship first.
I see. So I need to go to Zara.
Right.
All I'm wearing is this bloody tank top I got from the pilot.
Right.
Took it off his body. This is his blood.
Another great thing so this movie starts that 90s trend of action movies. Joe Silver produced this movie. He's one of the biggest action producers with Jerry Bruckheimer that redefined the 90s. Joe Silver would be, The Matrix.
Exactly.
Movies like that. And he had worked with John McTiernan on Predator, so he wanted him to direct this movie. John McTiernan said that terrorists are so boring and they're not likable. If I'm taking on this project, I want to change that to bank robbers because those are more likable characters. Which
I see.
I think he had a point.
Yeah.
And I think it made the movie less serious. And then he had a second writer rewrite the movie for jokes.
Oh,
to
cool.
make it
a punch up.
Yeah, and just add all the flavor for Bruce's character, which I think adds a lot of like that action comedy thing.
Of course, yeah. To have someone come in and like develop the character is like a beautiful thing. I'm so glad they fucking did that. Imagine this movie without
the humor,
or without ho ho ho, or God, what does he say? Like fucking California. That's like a famous line. Like those are like definitely like punched up things because they. Like if you're writing like interior airport, like he's looking around, like you need to add some sort of flavor, and I just don't buy that brain can also add a joke.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think they found the magic ingredient to do that.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the action movies that come after have that balance. Even today, we say like the MCU.
Oh yeah, we've talked about their humor.
Perfect balance between the action and the self-consciousness of like, okay, it's not taking it.
Well, I disagree.
Seriously.
I think it's too jokey, it's not funny.
I see.
Remember like the Hulk,
right.
Ironic?
But I think like that's the difference between basically the DC and the you know how serious and how successful that is. And I think the action movies with. I mean, you're blowing stuff up is obviously, you know, you could take it the Christopher Nolan route and make it very grounded and serious, or a little more like, okay, it's just a movie. This is just for fun.
I think Die Hard is like kind of that perfect balance.
Yeah.
It's not like when he's funny, he's actually funny.
He's funny.
When he's in another punch-up joke has to be him in the vents. Oh, I'll just like, what does he say? Like...
Oh, he says, I feel like a TV dinner right now.
Yeah.
No, well, that's...
Now I know how TV dinner feels like.
70s show.
Yes.
God. No, like, oh, I'll fly out. I'll have a couple drinks.
Have a couple laughs.
Exactly. Like, that sounds like a very punched up joke.
Yeah. Also, I mean, remember, he's on a hit TV show during the day. He goes at midnight or after hours to shoot this tiny
Michael
movie.
J. Fox.
Like exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody believes in him, although... His agent at the time, I don't know how he made it work. His agent at the time.
They said his Asian.
No, his agent got him $5 million for this movie, making him the highest paid actor of all time for this movie.
That's awesome.
And I think the deal was like, well, this could ruin his career forever, and nobody else wants to make the movie.
Yeah.
And
they get him $5 million then.
Right, I have no idea because it's $5 million in 1988.
But I'm just like, I'm wondering if people all thought it was going to ruin his career. People are laughing in the theater. How did I that's just fascinating to see how they would have done that.
Right. I mean they laugh after watching the trailer. It's already too late.
Yeah.
But he found it very difficult to act in this movie. He's alone most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's used to the TV rhythm of having so many people around him all the time, I
feel like he kills it.
Oh, I think he's
so charismatic.
He doesn't have that many great roles, I think, Bruce Willis, that, or he hits the notes high. And he has a couple of those things, because he did obviously Pulp Fiction.
But he's not great in Pulp. I mean, he's great in it, but it's not like a lot of meat for him to eat. Like Die Hard 3 is incredible.
Yeah, I think Die Hard 3 is great. He's great in it.
Sixth Sense.
And then he did Sixth Sense, and I think my favorite performances of his is Unbreakable.
Oh yeah, he's so fucking good in that. God, that movie's crazy.
But then you can see like it's a lot of like phoning it in or whatever, like kind of like doing the same thing.
I like 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. I never saw 12 Monkeys.
Oh, I like it. It's great. With crazy Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
I read a movie. I read a movie. It became a movie, but I read a book called "This Is Not Happening." Art Linson, the producer, wrote it, and it's like about him producing with Bruce Willis, who's in the movie version of the book, and how difficult Bruce Willis was, and how like when you would ask him to shave, he would like hold up production. But he was just like, I think he had a crazy big ego, probably stemming from that $5 million.
Yeah, no, I don't know if and at this point in his career, but later on, like I remember reading about the Expendables, how he kind of ruined the deal for everybody. And they actually Sylvester Stallone had to kick him out, and because he couldn't get I think he wanted $1 million per day he was so on set or whatever it was.
Because he's with like his buddies and he's like, I have to make the most money. I kind of get it. Like he's out of his mind.
So yeah, and he got to this point where like in the last years of his career before he got sick, where any production in Europe could get him, he would just fly in, do all his lines in 4 days and come back and you will have to pay him $1 million.
Yeah, isn't that like the new version of making movies? Like that's how Nicolas Cage is in it.
Right. A lot of these A-listers who then become B-listers go to Europe and do those type of movies.
Yeah.
But in any case, like
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
This movie made him a star.
Mm-hmm.
I think well deserved. I think he's very charismatic, very I don't know, you can feel the stardom I think in him. But also this movie was very different from Predator, from all the early 80s action movies. I think the way that they shot it feels more realistic, more grounded, more fun. I think it doesn't feel like that supernatural. It feels like, this could happen.
Oh yeah, it's very realistic. Like there's gunfire on the roof.
Right.
Like, I remember watching like a commentary or something where they were saying they shot him very like from low angles so that or like not from low angles. They shot him in a way that would make the building look very large around him.
Yeah,
like
those low angles.
Small guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even at the elevators when he walks in.
Right.
It's very like he's like in a grand castle or something.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was like fascinating about that. That building.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like handheld shots and things that weren't as used before, or cutting in mid-action, like the way that, more like, I mean, Joe McTiernan, although he is very famous for his action movies and his like very commercial films, he was like a film lover, right? And a lot of his reference were like French New Wave and things that are more artistic. So he tried to use some of those techniques in the big blockbusters. And I think it's funny that I think the director has a great kind of fascinating life and career because he makes Predator, huge hit. He makes Die Hard, huge hit. He doesn't do the second one, but does the third one.
Yeah, obvious, like very clearly too.
The same kind of vibe and really cool. But then after that, I mean, his first movie is called Nomads, and it's a kind of a horror supernatural movie that he wrote with Pierce Brosnan. So he's part of his roster, and Predator, Arnold is part of his roster. So then he does The Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, he made that? I love that movie. And then no one liked it.
He does the Thomas Crown Affair with Pierce Brosnan.
I never saw that.
Oh, that's a really cool movie. In like I think it's 1999 or 2000. Yeah. And then he made a movie with Antonio Banderas called The 13 Assassins or 13
Yeah, I think I remember
Warriors.
That one. Yeah.
Something that wasn't that good. And then he did Rollers. No, it's like something like Rollerblade.
Like Roller Girls or something?
No, it's an action movie, pretty bad.
Okay.
And this is, let's say, the beginning of the 2000s. And then after making that movie, the FBI arrests him.
Oh, hilarious.
He goes to jail because he had huge disputes with the producer of that movie. And he hired a private investigator to tabwire his phones and all of that.
Big story when I moved here in 2007.
Right.
Was the tap wiring of stars and how illegal that is in California.
Right. So he goes to jail and then he disappears. And now, I think 20 years after, he's going to make a new movie.
Yes, he's been collecting money that whole time.
Oh, he had to he declared bankruptcy after coming out of jail. So like someone who was like a huge star, A-list director in the 90s becomes completely falls from grace.
I feel like that's such a bummer for him. Like
he did the Hunt of the Red October with Sean Connery.
Of course, yeah.
So he had like those 90s like big hits.
I would tapwire like George.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like,
and if I went to jail,
he would deserve it, you know?
Yeah.
That's his attitude. He said like jail was great, that type of attitude.
Oh, I love that. That's a really good guy. So like when I went to military school, within a day, I was like, I'm having a blast.
Right.
We got Spider-Man on later. Like, we're going to have some, like, good Gatorades. We're going to have some laughs.
Right.
This guy has chewing tobacco.
So that's kind of like the attitude that he took.
That.
And then he eventually had to, he completed his arrest at home and all of that.
Well, I was going to tell you, if I ever went to jail, my plan is to go to this jail in Beverly Hills.
Oh, yeah, that's what they're going to put you?
Well, no, you can transfer if, like, you don't, like, kill someone or something, but it's like $150 a day. It's like staying at a Holiday Inn or something. But, you're there for years. It's going to add up. But, like, still.
So you have to pay for being in jail.
Exactly.
That's
because it's like nice jail. It's like going to jail like in Sweden or something.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
John McClane wouldn't send anyone to that jail.
What's up?
John McClane wouldn't send anyone to that jail. He'd be like, no way. I'll pay so he doesn't go to that jail.
Right. No way. No way. So another huge thing about this movie is the bad guy. I thought it was amazing. It always stuck with me. I didn't know who Alan Rickman was at the time, but when I saw him on this movie, it's like, oh, there's something about this guy that is very charismatic. Awesome. It's a great bad guy, Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
And obviously later he had an amazing career. He just recently died.
Yeah. Super sad.
And he was, Harry Potter and all these great movies. But this was his first movie.
It was?
He was a big Broadway play, actor on a stage.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, that's nobody know who he was. So basically the casting was a little bit like wild like that. It's like everybody became huge.
So intentional, obviously, to cast like professionals that aren't famous yet, basically.
I couldn't help but see Snape. I rewatched. Because of Harry Potter movies. Yeah. And I know this came way before. Way before, but I just like Professor Snape. Because he's so great in that role too.
He's so great. But I
never watched all the Harry Potters.
What?
But did you watch any of them?
Yeah, I watched
all of them.
I watched the first one and then I played the video game.
Right. So
on PS5.
I mean, maybe one day we can do a Harry Potter theme because the first couple Harry Potters are more in the world of like the Spielberg 80s. Actually Christopher Columbus directed.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
They Home Alone, that thing, and then they take a little bit as they grow up. The characters they take a little bit of a darker turn. The third one is. Alfonso Cuarón directed the third one.
The video game's so awesome.
And it's,
As you remember me talking about it nonstop.
Yes. And I remember Bobby also loving the game.
Bobby took his PlayStation 5 to New York City.
Right.
We were there he was there for a couple of weeks for Sex and the City, but like, who loves
his hotel room?
A PS5 across the country?
Yeah.
Like, it's like a.
I mean, video games they'll be the next thing. I think they are already, but the moment where video games get a little more, I feel emotional, like movies.
Oh yeah.
You are doing your own movie and controlling.
They're doing that already.
It's so close.
Yeah, it's like there and so close in my opinion. Although like right now I'm about to play Super Mario RPG, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I love all of that stuff. I told you, I try not to play because I don't want to get addicted to it and then hours pass by and I haven't done anything.
Well, even in the Spider-Man 2 game, the story is pretty good, but like it feels like they can take risks that like movies can't or something because the stakes are so much higher. Ironically, don't like the video games make more money anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different industry, but yeah, and right now, I remember when the Batman, the Dark Knight thing, what's it called? Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, that's
game,
the game.
Made as much as the movie.
Yeah.
Hey, have they ever made a Die Hard game?
I don't know if there's a Die Hard game.
There is a Die Hard game, but it is not in the vein of the games of today. It was,
okay.
There were I think there were so many also board games and things like that.
It'd be cool. It'd be like Metal Gear Solid or something.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to play a Die Hard game.
I think they were to do it today. It'll be so much fun.
There should be games of like current things happening.
Yeah.
Like you should be able to fight in the Ukrainian war, but like digitally. To feel like you can help or something like that.
Yeah, help Zelensky.
Yeah.
Or you can be Putin.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I would play you at night. I would call you and be like, hey, can I be Russian this time?
Yeah, why are the foreigners always the bad guys in the 90s movies?
I think it's like reminiscent of the Cold War.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I'm like, because in 2002, every movie was about like people from the Middle East. Like God, there's like every Denzel Washington movie was about like, you know, something happening in a big city post 9/11.
Or Eastern European.
Yeah, I think the Russians have been big bad guys, right? Obviously, the Cold War and everything, the Nazis, and then therefore all the German. Because even on Die Hard 3, Jeremy Irons is playing Hans Gruber's brother.
I love the cut they do when he has the hangover in the car and they just cut to Die Hard 1.
Yeah.
But there's no sound. I'm like, that's so powerful.
That shot is so impressive.
It's incredible. I mean, imagine doing that in the 80s and making it look good. I'm like, do you know how they would do that?
Yeah, actually, the way that they shot that. So at the very end, and
they threw him off the building.
A spoiler alert, but I mean, I guess at this point everybody has seen Die Hard. At the very, very, very end,
people got mad at me. Can I just say that?
Yeah.
People got mad at me for spoiling Uncut Gems.
That's so funny.
It came out in 2019.
I guess, yes. It's difficult to talk about movies without talking about them and just but in the new ones, we have to be careful.
I agree with that. I think that the new movies, we shouldn't spoil at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's cool, but for
this is enough has passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the last shots of the movie is like Bruce Willis shoots Alan Rickman, or McClane shoots Hans Gruber, and he crashes through the glass and falls, right? And the fall is not your classical fall from afar where you see someone falling. It's like you are on a close-up and he's falling, right?
It's really cool.
So
it looks real.
At that point, a few people who have been working at ILM, which is
Industrial
Light and Magic, the George Lucas's visual effects company that he created for Star Wars. Some people segregated and created their own company. They took a couple of these shots for this movie, and one of them was the ending. So the way that they shot it was like a more classic green screen. In this case, it was a blue screen. Okay. But they hung him 40 feet up in the air, and they fell a gigantic like airbag that was blue.
Yeah.
And then they just threw him there. And because it was nighttime and all that, photography-wise, they were able to, one of the first like kind of digital shots, because the rest of the movie, every explosion is real, right? Like everything.
The rooftop is very real.
They did like miniatures and like more traditional special effects. But this one, they did that first green screen or blue screen. But I guess the way that 40 feet is pretty high.
Yeah.
And I think the story goes as they were rehearsing and say, okay, we're going to do 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And so Alan Rickman is ready for that. And they went 4, 3, 2, and
which is great.
They threw him and said like, oh, that look of fear that he has in the first instant is real.
That's awesome.
And I love that shot. It's like, it stays with you.
Yeah, it's super famous. They play like at the Academy Awards.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, also a movie that was nominated for Academy Awards.
Oh, it was?
The first, all the technical stuff like visual effects, sound effects, best sound and best editing.
Yeah.
But still, like, we're talking about like action movies were not considered for awards and all that. And
beautifully shot. Like, sunset in West LA, I mean,
absolutely,
they capture it so incredibly. That neighborhood and the ocean not being far.
Oh yeah,
I mean, as pretty as it gets.
The director photographer, his name is John Devon, and it's funny because he became then a director and he directed Speed, which is basically Die Hard on a Bus, right?
Same area,
and is the DP that did and this early 90s also Basic Instinct, like movies that are very well shot. And
we should do Speed. I love how the first 40 minutes is like not even on the bus.
Speed is I think Speed is the best of the Die Hard.
Yes.
Spin-offs.
Yes. Oh God, so good.
So fun too.
You know what I watched last night?
What?
After this?
Yeah.
I watched Good Time, the Safdie brothers movie.
I love that one with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so good. Love that movie.
It's so intense. I've seen it like 4 times. Like the drumming during like the bank robbery in the beginning. It's straight out of Heat.
Yeah.
It wrote like, I feel like it's like the firstborn son of Michael Mann's Heat. Like, I feel like Michael Mann would be like, this is sick.
And so many close-ups, like it just feels tight. You know what I mean? Just tight on him, right?
Movie.
It just feels like.
I mean, again, and then Heat is a little bit after Die Hard, but I think like that type of genre of the modern action was born with this
realistic action. That's what like and like I was thinking that last night with Good Time, how like this is like if you're there and the music is amplifying how serious this is, and like the heart race is like of the two, like, or the heart racing of the two robbers. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's a. I mean, who doesn't love action? But it's so funny that it's something that
when it's done beautifully. It's like ballet or something. It can really blow your mind away.
Yeah. And actually, talking about ballet, like one of the bad guy with the long blonde hair that is also foreigner, he is a ballet dancer.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has the movements and all of that. One of the things I don't know. I love how everything. This movie is very Hollywood in a good way, because like. So you said like the movie opens with that sunset, the airplane landing, and you see that he's already not a hero. He's like, like his hand is on the armrest of the airplane, like
he's nervous.
clinching, like he doesn't like to fly. The guy tells him to do fist with your, this is the best trick ever.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get a little bit of exposition.
Like
which
he's
is
nervous on an airplane.
Okay, so you get a character. You know that he kind of like likes women. Like he looks at every woman like with that kind of like 90s like womanizer.
Because he's divorced.
He's divorced or in the way of getting a divorce. He feels very much not the classical Superman. It's just like a normal guy. But then also you're getting exposition, like that type of information that you need to give in a movie so you understand.
Oh yeah.
But it's done beautifully. I think because usually it's that part where like it's very difficult to jam in a movie because you're getting information that is going to be crucial for later, right? So he's a cop because of the gun and all of that. I've been doing this for a long time. The guy at the airplane tells him, take your shoes off and do fist with your feet. That's going to be...
screw him later.
It's going to be the whole key for this movie because he's going to be barefoot the whole movie.
So good.
And then he gets to the...
baggage claim
and gets that limo. And during that conversation with this annoying limo driver that is too nosy...
Argyle.
He gets all the information. We know... why he's in LA, who he's gonna go see, or the situation with his wife, right? Yeah. Like all of that is done in a way that you have all that information, and it was done,
love it.
Almost invisibly. Then it's funny when they get to Fox Plaza, which, by the way, the first time I went to Century City, like the Nakatomi building is still there, right?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's the Die Hard building.
Yeah, beautiful.
So at that point, it belongs to Fox, and it was a building that was all like lawyers and offices, but they were still in construction on the top floors and a couple of empty floors. So they shot on a building where they were actually working every day.
Oh, that's awesome.
This movie wasn't a huge budget movie.
Yeah, they did it at night. No one
right, they did. Yeah, they couldn't shoot guns and make noise until after 5 p.m. So they would have to do certain things in the day and then the rest at night. But anyway, one of the things that dates the movie really quickly, the
gas
phones,
prices.
And the gas prices. But when he gets to Nakatomi Plaza and you see that there's a digital, directory or whatever, and the guy says, "Oh, interesting toy."
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, wow. It's like when Jurassic Park, like the
that stuff's pretty cool in Jurassic Park, though. This is really outdated.
Yeah. It's like pretty much you're not in today, which is something.
Oh hell yeah!
It's a key to. I feel like when you don't want your movie to be dated, try to not use technology too much.
Of course.
Now it'd be, okay, you need to download an app to get into this building,
right?
And then sign up, and then...
and in the future you have to have your implant ready, or whatever it is.
We're fine.
But yeah, so I from the very beginning, he gets there, right? The terrorists are pretty cool because they're
talking about like the Lakers. They're funny,
right? Yeah, they're funny guys. They seem that they have this bigger purpose, right? They dress this just bank robbery.
They got that nerd guy, the Theo. That does all the computer stuff.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I like him. Yeah. He's the one that likes the Lakers. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about James Worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like the fact that they break certain rules of like, oh, okay, I'm going to give you, I'm going to count to 3. You don't give me whatever, I'm going to kill you. And this guy's like, you're going to have to kill me. Boom, he kills you.
Yeah.
So that these guys are,
they're serious. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, like everything that I've seen before that, of course, it's not going to kill anyone or...
Yeah.
Is going to get arrested before that.
No, the body count in this movie is pretty high.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Really cool. And also, so the story goes as the writers are writing this is based on a book. Okay. The book is called...
I didn't know that.
Something like There's No Tomorrow. Tomorrow Never Dies. Tomorrow Never Dies.
Like the Bond movie?
It looks like a Bond movie. Yeah. And it's a sequel to a movie called The Detective.
Okay.
That was done in the 70s with Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
Frank Sinatra wanted a sequel to that detective movie. And the writer ended up doing Die Hard, which is not exactly the same thing that it was. But contractually, they had to go to Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I think the book is called Nothing Lasts Forever.
Nothing Lasts Forever. Okay. It's not like a Bond movie, but
it does sound like a Bond movie.
Nothing Lasts Forever.
Remember, I have a crystal skull, so I have all the information.
Yeah. Good. Sorry. Yeah, Nothing Lasts Forever. So they went to Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra passed, and thank God, because he was going to be like a 60. But the book is like that. It's a 60-year-old detective going to this building. It ends with like him losing his daughter, like the same way that he loses, Hans Gruber goes. And so the writer didn't know how to adapt this into a movie. I think he had a big argument with his wife.
Yeah.
And then left the house and said, okay, she's right, I'm wrong, I have to apologize. Oh, I have an idea. The movie is going to be about that. It's going to be about this marriage, and it's going to be about this guy who said the wrong thing, and I have to apologize. But now he gets caught into these circumstances.
Oh, I love all movies where there's like problems in the relationship.
Right.
Heightens everything.
Becomes real.
Yeah.
But then when they were shooting, and the second writer was hired to do the comedy bits, there were like little holes. And the biggest hole they had is like, how are they going to escape? I know that he's going to shoot him, but still, they have to have a plan that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they came up with that idea of like, something that he has written for a TV show beforehand, I think, which was like, they're going to pretend to be, they're going to blow up the building, and they're going to come as the paramedics on an ambulance, and they're going to escape.
That's awesome.
And then he's like, how are we going to get an ambulance? Well, they came out on a big truck. Let's hide the ambulance there. So there's a shot at the very beginning, which I love the shot, which is
where they're all driving in. Yeah.
When they introduce Hans Gruber, you see everybody coming out of the back of the truck. Yeah, they're all coming towards camera, and the camera is moving. Yeah. And then suddenly he appears, and then the camera tracks back with him, kind of like giving him that importance. You know that he's the main guy. But you can see totally into the back of the truck, and there's no ambulance.
Oh, that's so funny.
They shot that in the begining, and they didn't have the end written.
That's so funny.
And then we say, well, whatever. Whoever cares about that, there's not gonna be into the movie. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then they put that ambulance at the end, and then you have a sense when you see that ambulance coming, and you know that they're blowing up the roof. It's like, they had it figured out.
Yeah,
it's like
cool.
kind of a Joker kind of thing. Like they had the perfect plan to get out. And they figured that out as they were doing it.
And what's the art they're stealing?
They're not stealing any art. They're stealing like a treasure bond.
That's right. Okay.
Treasure. How do you?
Because there's like art stuff next to it. That's why.
Yes. No, but they're not. They're. How do you call those?
Treasury bonds.
Yeah, treasury bonds. That's what they're stealing, like $600 million.
That's right. Okay, I got confused while watching it again. I was like, wait, why is there like a statue from Africa there?
They have
I don't remember this
a gigantic bald with a lot of interesting things.
I had no memory of that from like years of watching this. At the end of the day, it's nothing to do with it.
It's like the MacGuffin of the movie is like they're just robbing something.
Exactly.
Whatever it was.
It's funny because watching this, I never really paid attention to that part.
Right.
I'm like, what? What's happening?
Yeah. Because like it's all a gimmick. It's all a gimmick for this to work.
Yeah. I like the relationship between Bruce and the cop from Family Matters.
Family Matters. I was about to say, did you all watch Family Matters?
Of course.
When I first saw this movie, I'm like, the dad from Family.
Did they allow Family Matters in Spain? So it's all black people?
Yeah. We welcome them.
Oh, that's good.
And Family Matters happened after this. So this movie...
Of course, yeah.
So I forgot the name of this actor. And
Reginald Denny?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was an actor kind of like about to give up acting because, I mean, his family wasn't not that supportive except for his mother.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to keep doing it. He got this role.
Reginald VelJohnson.
VelJohnson, okay.
Reginald, yeah.
Yeah.
And because of this movie, he became... I mean, if not a movie star, he became a very known actor.
Yeah, he's in a huge movie, yeah.
It's a huge movie. It works really well. The relationship between the two click really well, right? And then after that, he got Family Matters and other roles. And he was able to buy a house to his mom and all of that.
Of course.
Did I do that?
I love that show.
Yeah. But... definitely, like, he's the stereotypical cop, right? You see him at the beginning buying all this crap.
Donuts. Yeah.
He's not buying donuts because if I remember correctly...
He's buying something that's sweet and he's saying it's for his wife.
Like Danishes or something he's buying. Yeah, I can't really tell. The guy's like, this is for your wife, your pregnant wife. Really?
He doesn't believe him.
Really? Yeah, he's like,
I thought you guys were only a donut.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so you see him and you know, he's going to be a bad cop. He's just too overweight. He doesn't care. Yeah. He doesn't pay attention. And then he becomes actually his only ally. And
just like Bruce Willis.
And ends up being like the guy who stands up and shoots at the end, saves Bruce Willis' life. I think, because you think at the end, he went there for his wife. He gets his wife, right? And the movie ends with a kiss. But the biggest moment, the biggest like emotional point is when the two of the cops meet, you know?
Yeah, because this movie, I love that this movie was never going to be like, oh, they get back together.
Right.
Because they don't. In Die Hard 3, they haven't talked in forever.
Right. Exactly.
And then in 4, there's the daughter.
4 is the daughter. That, to me, after 3, they ruined the franchise.
Oh, I hated the rest. I didn't even watch the one with Justin Long. I was like, get back in your Apple commercial, dork.
Yeah.
God, he's such a dweeb.
It's just not. It's not the same.
Justin Long looks like he was created by like AI, but like a 2006 version.
Like the fission AI.
Yeah, he just like looks like he's every race combined. Like he's like designed by like AOC or something.
I don't know what it is. It's just I think they miss. It's like they did the same to Indiana Jones. There is something about that time period, the way that they made movies and the way that the world was a little bit more naive.
Yeah.
And then
03.
When they redid the things it's a different world and it doesn't
work. What's funny is I did like the Shia LaBeouf Indiana Jones. I mean, it's not as good as
I did too.
Yeah, I liked it, but like, was every movie a piece of shit in 2006? Like, really? You know what I mean?
No, 2006 was. I mean,
well, I'm like wondering if movies weren't as good.
I just feel like certain things don't age. I mean, they didn't. It's like Indiana Jones 3 ends with the 4 guys riding into the sunset, literally riding into the sunset. That is someone saying,
we're done.
Period.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Exclamation point, we're done.
Yeah.
Right? At that time, good. I think when Spielberg and Lucas made that deal in the 80s, Lucas he was fascinated with serials. He was doing Star Wars as a 3, and he told Spielberg, I have something better than James Bond. It's yours, but if we're doing this, you have to commit to the 3 pictures.
I agree that it's better.
Okay, let's do it. So, and I think when he got to the 3rd picture, he said, like, this is it. We're doing it. We've finished it. And then when they revive it, I was very excited. I think the plot is very absurd.
Oh, I agree, but it's somehow fun.
It's really well done because it's very charismatic acting. I think the camera and all that. The look to me, it feels a little too digital for what Indiana Jones was.
That's my hang up with all movies from that decade.
Skull and the aliens. It was like,
the aliens.
I'm okay with the Nazis. Why are we going now to aliens?
That's why I loved it, because I love watching Ancient Aliens.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
So it was like right up that alley. So I was like,
it's like the ancient, Indiana Jones and the Ancient Aliens.
Where's Giorgio Tsoukalos or whatever his name is, the guy with the hair?
Yeah.
He should have been in the movie.
I thought, not worth it, and then the newest one also was like, no.
Oh, I still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for it to come out to rent.
It's okay, but anyway,
which is probably now.
But I feel that the magic that certain movies have to do with the time period where they're made.
Yeah,
and the culture of that time, and I think today, you wouldn't make exactly the same movie. It doesn't make sense.
Of course not.
But I think Die Hard has all these elements that is still super fun. It's fast enough that I don't think you can get bored with that movie.
It's pretty tight script.
I'll be interested to see like what 20-year-old have to say, post Transformers, post like cutting so fast and action movies being too fast.
Let's do something here. Any Gen Z watcher comment on this video and let us know if you're seeing it for the first time, what you think about it.
I feel like a Gen Z watcher would like it. I don't think they would get bored, and the reason why is because every scene is important. I think they would get bored with him walking in and looking around. Like, I gotta tell you, I watched this show, like A Murder in the North or something like that, on Hulu. It just came out, and there's like an opening scene where this girl's like walking to her train. It's literally like 40 seconds on fucking Hulu on FX. All right, and I'm like, no one, even I'm sick of this stuff unless it's at a theater and it's beautiful and it's fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. I'll watch it. But if it's just some like random person walking, we're done with that time.
Too slow.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think this movie is pretty tight, both script and editing. I think it's fast enough. I have to rewatch, but I haven't felt that it was one of those things that aged badly because of that. Probably we will have to look at representation and like look from the cultural side.
They're pretty represented. Even like the newscaster is fucked up he is fucked up. He's doing something fucked up to the Latin maid, the Mexican maid. He's like threatening her with ice, basically.
Right.
But like, I feel like it's a perfect representation of like LA in general. Yeah. Like, I actually think this movie ages really well, race-wise or anything like that.
Yeah, I would say like culture, like, because culture changes so much that a lot of movies, like then, it's like they represented that time period and now it's like we're in a different society.
It's like that South Park joke that's going around where it's like Disney just says put a girl in it. Like that's like, did y'all watch the new South Park thing that came out?
No.
It's funny. I'll tell you. I'll talk about it.
But definitely, like girls, like minorities, all of race, sexual orientation, all of that has changed so much. But in terms of also because there is a beautiful moment at the end of the 80s and beginning of 90s where the special effects world is so high class, and the digital hasn't taken over yet. Because then it comes a time when people abandon the traditional effects for the computer. It's
vinyl, right? Is that what you think? It's like musicians think it's the best way to listen.
Yes, definitely. It's a good symbol. I think like is vinyl to then cassette, and it's like holy shit, you miss all these frequencies. Now you're listening to crap until surround sound comes. So you have a period, and that's what happens I think with movies too. Like with digital, there is gonna be a moment in time that the effect, when you see Air Force One and you see that airplane crashing, it's like it seems so.
I like block that out. So I like Air Force One.
So bad. Those effects are bad and age really bad.
Yeah.
Until you are in today's world where the effects now you can do anything in a very high class level.
Yeah.
But I think these movies are that are like they have the artisan component of like. They blow up. So the other big shot that they did, the ILM, I guess, branch that separated from George Lucas was the helicopter blowing up and coming, right? And so Joe Silver went to them and said like, no, there's no way you guys can make this look real. Because we're not in a fantasy movie. We're not in, we're going to cut it in among everything else that we're going to shoot for real. We're going to shoot a real helicopter. We're going to shoot a real explosion. And then we're going to cut to this thing.
Yeah.
And it needs to match perfectly.
Yeah.
And they did that shot
crazy
of like, you see the explosion and you see the helicopter coming down. And that's a miniature, a model, and done at scale and all of that. So I think all of that works really well.
That's so cool.
Or when they shoot that little tank, whatever it's called.
Oh, like the police tank.
The police, right? Like they shoot, and it explodes and all of that. So that is done physically.
They have one of those at the beginning of Straight Outta Compton too.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That.
I saw those during the riots in 2020. You would see them on Fairfax.
Yeah, they look like a military thing, not a police car. But
I love when there's riots, like when the Lakers won.
You love riots.
Oh yeah, like when
to watch on TV or
I was in the middle of the those other ones. That was my moving day. Was the day like CNN showed up and there's crazy riots on Beverly, so I was actually amongst it, but I was moving. I wasn't like helping out.
Yeah.
I was like driving through, smoking a joint, like. Oh man, on Beverly there were like people marching, and I was just like, I wasn't one of those like driving.
Beep, beep.
No, I was afraid of everyone.
Right.
So I was like, people are armed and stuff. So I was just going around nicely.
Yeah. I just want to put my couch here.
Yeah, listening to Tiger Belly or something like that.
That's funny.
Yeah, don't roll down your windows. It'd be like Kalila talking.
What are the things that? What's your favorite moment of the movie, or something that stands out?
Gosh, honestly, my favorite part of the entire movie is, I think the most beautiful part of the movie is my favorite part of the movie, which is the shots on Pico, not Olympic, it would be Pico, going up to the Nakatomi Tower in West LA. Yeah, I love the shots. I love when he gets there and he first sees his ex, Holly Gennaro, for the first time. And I love how the sun is setting over West LA. To me, it's just nostalgic, and it reminds me just of being young. I love those parts.
And very influential if you think later of when Michael Bay starts making these action movies.
Oh yeah.
How much sunset and airplanes coming, like the beginning of Bad Boys, the Rock.
Yeah.
Those movies have all Con Air, have a lot of these elements.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Just like I feel like. What's that? Jerry Bruckheimer, and I think Michael Bay is attached to it too. It's that movie with Mark Wahlberg and The Rock.
Oh yeah,
Pain and Gain. Where they really go crazy with like the Miami colors and stuff. I'm like, that movie is nuts.
That movie's really good. That's a good Michael Bay movie.
I just watched The Rock on Rogan. It was pretty good.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only an hour in. It's like 20 hours.
Yeah,
but
he's gonna run for president.
No, he says he doesn't want to.
Yeah,
like what a world.
Be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Zelensky.
Yeah. He anyway, like I get that, and because a lot of movies back then started with that sort of like what people can call it B-roll of like just beautiful shots of a city over the credits, like getting in the mood to see
very
the movie.
70s.
But it has a purpose, and I feel in here like it's grounded. This is an LA movie. There's no
ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
even
a New York
that
cop.
deputy is like, is he one of ours? He's like, no way.
No, exactly.
Yeah, he's like, no, definitely not.
Well, I think a great thing when the in terms of, I feel it's a satire too about how police, law enforcement, FBI operates. There's a lot of like
closed-mindedness.
Yeah, but also like the two Agent Johnsons from the FBI really look like a parody. They dumb. Obviously, Hans Gruber is so much smarter than them.
They have the same name.
They know crazy. They have this the anti-terrorist manual, whatever, that they're gonna follow to a T, and that's gonna allow them to open the vault.
Yeah.
But it's like he goes on this helicopter. He's doing a little bit of like this Vietnam crazy guy of like, oh, this is like Saigon.
Yeah.
And the other guy's like, oh, I was in junior high. But the analysis they do is like, well, I think they're gonna kill 20. We're gonna kill all the terrorists and 20% of the hostages. Yeah. Oh, I can live with that. It's all very exaggerated, but kind of like making fun of how police would deal with something like that.
And it's almost it's disguised like in this movie that feels so grounded too. It's like you kind of have to really listen for that humor. You're like, oh, everything's kind of funny.
It's a movie where the police are the heroes because everybody that's a higher authority are jokes, right?
Yeah,
like that guy Dwayne, whatever, he's like doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, the chief of police is stupid. The FBI is stupid, and actually, the grounded guys, the guys who actually patrol the streets, you know, are the ones.
Yeah, John McClane and Al.
Which has to be the opposite in real life. Like the guys who give traffic tickets are not like the people you would trust in a terrorist takeover of a building in a huge city.
But as a romanticism of
course
of a regular guy doing his job who really likes, you know, this is my job, I can protect people. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
why would you listen?
But that really would be like if you were like making a movie and like McClane was like, I actually have a really good idea. You'd be like, you're 20 years younger than me. Get out of my face.
But also if McClane shot a 13-year-old kid and be like, yeah, we're not listening to you, right? Like it's like that's he messed up. He already messed up, right? But like nobody's listening to him.
Anyway, but I think okay, so you love the beginning and you love like this kind of setting, the romanticism of LA all beautifully at sunset.
1,000,000%.
I liked the scene where McClane finally meets Hans Gruber but doesn't know it's Hans Gruber.
Oh yeah, I love that part.
And he's like
accent.
He's looking at the little marquee in the back of names, right? Of all the people in the building. So he's like, oh, I'm John McClane. What's your name? And he's like Clay. You know, Bill Clay, right? And he's like, he finds the name, hands him a gun. You're like, oh no, what did you do, right?
So
there's this feeling like, okay, well, he's done for. He did his check, but then it's empty, right? So there's that double, like,
it's a triple game because I love that scene. I think it's one of my favorite scenes. I think it's one of those scenes that the John McTiernan wanted to put in the movie. He said like, these guys don't ever meet.
I was going to say that. It feels like added.
And I wanted them to meet before. How do we make that happen?
So cool.
And it said that it happened over lunch at a crafty table where Alan Rickman was like doing American accent.
Yeah.
And people were laughing. And the writer said, wait a second. John McClane only knows Hans Gruber by voice.
Yeah.
And what he knows is that this guy has a German accent.
Yeah.
Now, this new character that he's playing, because, right, the first thing you say is like, oh, game over.
Mm-hmm.
He has him.
Yeah.
He sees the bad guy and he has a gun to his face. Now, the bad guy flips the coin on him and is like, oh, are you? And it changed the accent and he is speaking American.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, wow, he's so smart. Now he has...
Could you do that?
The upper hand. I wish I could.
Yeah.
This Hans Gruber would be...
Wait, what
unfortunately,
if like you were sick of work and like Andrew like comes up to you on the street and he's like, Fancy, we have to go shoot. And then you become American. I'm not fancy.
Look, if I that's my dream. My dream is to be able to speak without an accent.
And you have to come up with a name and you're like, my name is Carlos Bobby. And you're like, fuck.
Unfortunately, it wouldn't, I try it many times. Where are you from? I'm from New York. Everybody looks at me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they ask me,
Nueva York.
Are you from New York? Are you from California? And you know what they're thinking, but they want to be polite, because. And I try my best.
Easter Island, just something crazy.
Yeah, it's like how Javier Bardem has this like undistinguishable accent when he plays the sugar guy in No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
Like he doesn't have a Spanish accent.
So weird.
He has a weird type of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe I can get to that point where like people cannot identify my accent, but for now, unfortunately, I'm gonna be
fancy.
I'm gonna be Hans Gruber.
You could be from like Iceland or like Antarctica or something.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'm a
scientist.
I wish I could do it. But anyway, I think that scene is beautiful. They flip the thing on him, and then you think, oh wow, Bruce Willis doesn't have the upper hand anymore. Mm-hmm. But then he's playing another round, so it's like discovering.
Yeah.
And I love that shot that the gun is hidden.
Mm-hmm.
You like rack focus to the gun, and it's like, no, the bad guy could get to the gun.
So
but
hectic.
Yeah, it's a really cool scene, Pete. I think that's probably one of my favorites. And I love I love him in the elevator. That shot of him like going up the elevator, the explosions. So cool. I always thought it was like it's a cool action shot, you know?
I like him in the conference rooms, like in the fights, because you can see the city. It reminds me of the end of Collateral.
Right. I love that. I think that that looks so pretty.
Well, that was one thing I had a problem with the guy shooting the table. Where he's just hiding. It's like he's just shooting at the table. It's like, you're out of table.
You're out of table. You should have killed me when you had a chance. Yeah. Thanks for the advice. But I think because they take it into that comedy world,
you can do it.
It
forgive
works.
it.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
You forgive it because it's ridiculous.
It's like everyone's matching Bruce Willis's bad mood and trying to like edge him off.
Yeah, it's like this table is like some sort of shield.
Yeah, insane.
He's lucky a few times because also when he's in the air ducts, someone like goes with the machine gun and no one hits him. But it's still works. It still works. I think it's one of those things that the humor, and I think the director was right into taking it into that world of like, I want it to be a fun movie. I can't be a serious movie about terrorism. Nobody likes that, and I can play with this. Because then it's like, okay, you can forgive a lot of those things, saying like, oh, this is just a popcorn movie. It's a fun
if it was
thing.
like a terrorist movie, it'd be like, 0 Dark 30 or something.
Right. You have to go into that territory or making it like real.
We also got to talk about the coked out 80s guy that's in the movie.
Very like trapped in this time. Like this character would probably not exist today at all.
It's very 80s to me. It's very like Wall Street coked out, like, hey, I'm going to make a deal here.
Yeah, like, because he's a cop.
For some reason, it always felt a little real to me, like that there's always the guy who just is there for himself.
Trying to, like, get out of it kind of thing.
Yeah, and a little cocky in a way that he's not seeing the writing on the wall. And he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. Yeah. Because, like, the intro to him, the intro is, like, trying to hit on Holly. Mm-hmm. But then Bruce comes in. And they introduce and say, "Hey, you missed something."
Yes, he's doing.
So you're ready, okay? So
love that line.
This guy's this guy for some reason we put a spotlight on it. He has to come back later in the movie,
which is it's good because he messes things up. So it's like you do need him. He's not like a pointless character,
right? And then he pretends to be Bruce Willis's friend, and then he gets himself killed.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, I like.
Also, it's very. Why from all the offices in the building they end up on Holly's office?
Of course.
He becomes
because she has a good office. Well, doesn't she want the other office? It's like they're not even in the best office.
It's just because you want a moment. So the beginning,
they see the picture
exactly, and it's so well. I think it's very like screenwriting, like perfect, right? So she's talking to the maid. Holly's talking to his maid, saying, "Hey, make the bed for my husband." She looks at the picture of the husband, who she has in his office, and puts it down. And you know what that means.
That
it makes sense.
Pick it up, though.
No, but it makes sense in terms of emotion. Like,
of course,
they are in a bad situation. Yeah. He doesn't wanna. She doesn't want to deal with him right now.
Yeah, but if a picture is put down, it's put down for a reason.
For a reason.
Pick it up. Yeah.
And then there's gonna be someone who will reveal that picture, and it comes at the worst moment for the character, and there's like that's how Hans know the relationship, and I think that's all done really well through visuals.
Yeah, a lot of effective plants and then payoffs. It just works really well in the movie.
Right, and I think that's that type of writing that. I mean, they still make movies like that. It's very Hollywood. They're planting and
they try their best to. They make movies like this. This is what movies are, but like they're not always this like well done.
Right. I think that when I think about writing a novel versus writing a screenplay, is like I always, tell students that there is a lot of engineering when doing a script that you don't need when doing a novel. You need better, maybe use of language in a novel because you're only gonna read it. Script could be a little more bare bones or less poetic, but that engineering part where like everything you see, a novel is very forgiving. You can go, you can now digress, you can now go there, you go in monologue, you go in path. In a movie, everything matters, and you're gonna see it, and you're not gonna forgive any of the crap that you forgive in.
And knowing everything matters is helpful.
So it's like there's the biggest thing kind of like a screenwriting like line that says like, well, if you ever gonna show a gun on Act 1, you better shoot it in Act 3.
Yes.
That, and that idea of like planting things in a way that is basically not perceived, like not too conscious about it.
Yeah.
But then when you see it again, it's like, of course the gun was there. Of course that picture.
Of course he took off his shoes.
Of course he took off the shoes, and now he's like, because that's the whole thing. Like this movie in Spanish is called, which I think is a beautiful title. It's called The Glass Jungle.
Oh, crazy!
And
that's amazing.
And it is, and when I think about this movie all the time, it's like what I think is like, yeah, he is in this glass thing, trapped with no shoes, and they're shooting everywhere, so he cannot go anywhere. So
Glass Jungle.
Glass Jungle.
Yeah, that's
because there's the Die Hard is very it's an American expression. Yeah. It doesn't have a direct translation.
That's such a cool title, Glass Jungle.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Now it doesn't make sense when you do part 2 or 3 because
of course,
like
Glass Jungle 3.
Get it right with a vengeance.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So going back to the argument of a Christmas movie or not, I think the music. Mm-hmm. So there is the big moment. So this guy John McTiernan, is a fan of like heavy movies as he's a fan of Kubrick. He wanted to use the Ninth Symphony the same way that they've used it in the Clockwork Orange.
Oh, well, okay.
So the biggest moment of the movie, where the music is playing kind of like, it feels like a Christmas music, it's not, but it's like a big fanfare. It's like as they are opening the ball, right? It's like you hear the music, na 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 na.
Oh, Ode to Joy by Beethoven, right?
Right. It's the Ninth Symphony. It opens up like all the shots, and at that point, and then the guy comes up and says, "Merry Christmas," right? And then at the end of the movie, you have a Christmas song. Which one is it? Let us know.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know what it.
Yeah, I forgot the actual name.
The weather outside is
right.
Yeah.
And the fire is so delightful.
And it's such a beautiful shot because if you remember, they come into they say goodbye to our the cop. Argyle gets them into the limousine.
Yeah.
And then the camera goes to the back of the limousine. The glass is broken, but you see them kissing and the sunset, and then the thing pulls up with the Christmas music on.
Exactly.
And for me, that's what it made it like a holiday movie.
Yeah, like brings it back.
Movie. Yeah.
I think it's sweet.
It's a fun conclusion to the movie.
I think it works better at the beginning, like, or in the middle, like raising the stakes. But by the end, it's just like a nice little button, like, oh yeah, holiday movie. Yeah,
and the other big moment is the ho 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 moment that you mentioned.
Of course.
Like, okay, he puts the hat on the.
That's the most direct, on the nail. Like, this is like during Christmas time kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, in the very opening that
he talks about it. Yeah,
it's a Christmas holiday party at the.
That's right.
At the place.
Yeah.
So if people haven't seen Die Hard, why should they see Die Hard, and why is it should they see it around Christmas time?
Just because watching Christmas movies is kind of weird outside of Christmas time, but I would say I feel like Die Hard feels cozy around this time, and if you live in some like terrible place where it's cold around this time, like watch Die Hard because it's not fucking cold in this movie.
Yeah, I think it's a family movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie. At the end of the day, it's about this couple that wants to solve the marriage thing and that their marriage problems and live together, which is a little bit of a holiday spirit, well-spirited thing. But I just think it's such a kick-ass, cool action movie.
Yeah.
It makes you smile. It makes you laugh. It doesn't take itself too seriously. You're not going to see blood. It's not going to have the consequences of real violence. It's just fun violence in the best way of like, a big Hollywood movie.
It's like if your dad got stuck in this situation, like what would you do?
Anyone, a normal person, that's the Hitchcock premise of a person that is just a regular guy gets, how would you react when the circumstances are impossible? And also, in terms of history, I think is the movie that changes how action movies will be the direction of action movies will take in the following decade. Yeah, for the better, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool, fun movie, and you cannot go wrong. And I think it's something that you can watch with your parents, your kids.
Totally.
Yeah, if somebody wants to watch a Hallmark movie, go, you know what? No, let's watch Die Hard.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah,
and
Merry Christmas.
Enjoy Die Hard. See you guys.